Hello everybody, I'm Ike Bush, and right next to me I have Eddie Kalegi here from the Bulldog Report. We've got a fun night coming up for you. It's the Metuchen Bulldogs taking on South Plainfield. It's going to be a pretty good game tonight. I mean, that's what's expected at least. The Metuchen Bulldogs coming off a win on Saturday against Woodbridge. What do you think they could do to enhance their play, Eddie, in tonight's game against South Plainfield?
Well, yeah, that was a big win. It was the first win under Coach James Cardillo. They're sitting at 1-3 so far this season. It's a nice battle against Woodbridge. They had come up just short against Roselle Park the previous night, but got the win with 21 fourth-quarter points to come from behind. They were down 4 after 3 quarters and came back from adversity. This team has dealt with some player absences, but everybody's back out there. But, of course, Dom Chiappa. I mean, what can you say? 30 points, 10 rebounds, one of the best performances, single game performances we've seen from an individual player at Metuchen High School in boys basketball over these past few years. Really picked things up. I mean, Max Cohn had 7 points to add to it, 11 rebounds for Caitlin Emsley, so it was a nice mix. If Metuchen can just keep that going, they're playing against a South Plainfield team that might be a little tired. They've actually played the most games of any team in the Blue Division. They've played 8 games. Metuchen's only played 4 because of their COVID pause, so I think there's a potential for the Dogs to have a chance, and I think being at home and having that comfort level could assist them a little bit. So I think this could be a very interesting matchup here between Metuchen and South Plainfield. Looking back in the past, South Plainfield has won 4 of the last 5 meetings. They split the meetings last year. Metuchen, though, did win 1 game back on February 3rd last season on the road at South Plainfield, 62-58. But the only player who appeared in that game that is still on this team is Max Cohn. Obviously, we know about the roster turnover the Bulldogs have had, so I think that could kind of be thrown into this as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a fun evening set up for tonight, but we're going to head to the Star Spangled Banner. We'll be right back in action. Coming off a win, as we just mentioned, and beating a very good Woodbridge team, but the deflating loss against Roselle Park last week was really a tough one for the Bulldogs. I mean, you know, the Roselle Park was able to come back late in the game. Bulldogs blew the lead late, but it really came down to their defense, especially later on in the game. They had a good defensive game earlier on, but later on, the defense kind of seemed weak. So we're going to have to see the Metuchen Bulldogs play a better defensive game if they want to win today.
Yeah, but let's take a pause. Starting lineups coming from Metuchen, and then we'll be getting underway here for Metuchen boys basketball.
now for your Metuchen Bulldogs. At guard, junior, number 11, Max Cone. At forward, sophomore, number 25, Ben Santos. At center, senior, number 24, Kay Emsley. At forward, senior, number 4, Liam Benderly. And at guard, captain, senior, number 5, Dominic Schiappa.
Hot momentum from their last win, which was on Saturday. The Metuchen Bulldogs looking to make it 2 straight. Right now, sitting at 1-3 on the year. South Plainfield right now at not too great of a record, but a solid one, 5-3. They played a heck of a lot of games, as Eddie had just mentioned, and South Plainfield has had a lot less time to rest. The Metuchen Bulldogs haven't played since Saturday, but South Plainfield has not had much time to rest, and they have to, try to win this game now because they are sitting at this point 5-3, just a few seeds in front of the Bulldogs in the standings. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. A lot at stake. Bulldogs looking to make it 2 straight, and they have a game in just a few days as well. But, what could they change for today's game defensively? Because I know I was talking a little bit about their defense. What could they change defensively for today's game?
I think they have to limit the scoring early in the game. We've seen the Bulldogs fall behind early on multiple occasions in their 4 games this season. They did a good job coming from behind against Woodbridge, but this team has to be resilient right from the beginning and not allow a quick start from the Tigers.
And we're right underway. Tigers basketball on the offensive side. Starting off, that's a pass to Joseph Oduvo. In the corner, you've got Tariq Williams with the basketball. That's Kalen Emsley guarding him. South Plainfield already putting up a shot, and they hit the 3 from deep. First points on the board, that's Brandon Dean to add 3.
It's a nice shot there by Dean. Got some space. Was kind of covered. Metuchen played solid defense, but just too quick of passing right there.
Well, he was wide open, and that was a problem from last game, or one of the games against Roselle Park especially. They left Spites wide open on the outside. It was a problem for most of the game for the Bulldogs. You got Kay Emsley hitting the long jumper for 2, and now the Bulldogs are within 1. 3-2's our score. South Plainfield in the lead after they hit the original 3-pointer. Oduvo. Another 3-point try. He hit one from that area last time, so don't put it past him, but he misses the shot. Here's Ben Santos over another man, and he missed it, but Schiappa didn't hesitate to lay it in for 2.
10 rebounds last game for Schiappa, and he gets active there, cleaning up the mess for Santos.
Look at these shots from the outside. 2 of 3 already drained, and Anthony Nigro with the corner 3-pointer. 6-4 South Plainfield. All of their points come from outside the perimeter. Thrown right to the defense. South Plainfield on the offensive attack. To the corner. Thought better of the 3-point chance. And South Plainfield moving it on in. And the shot missed by Oduvo. The layup was no good from just about 2 feet away. Bulldog basketball, that's Max Cone. We're seeing his second game since being out a few. He missed the game against Roselle Park, but he's back in action here. And he played last week also on Saturday against Woodbridge. He put up 7 points, all from the line. South Plainfield basketball. That's Nigro putting it up and in. Nigro with the 3-pointer. And now, Nigro's got 6 on the night. Nigro's been their best player. We talked before the game a little bit about how influential he is to this team, Eddie.
Yeah, and we should see a big block there. Metuchen's defense has been a little tense and not really getting in the face. That was a nice play there by Cone, but they are not closing out on these 3-point shooters and giving South Plainfield some great looks.
And Schiappa's fouled as he lays in 2. Fouled by Oduvo. That's his first foul of the day. The first foul of the day, and the Bulldogs will be sent to the line. Schiappa will make it a 3-point play.
And Ike, for Metuchen to be successful this season, they need to find somebody else beyond Schiappa who can pick up some of that offensive load. Of course, Schiappa was hurt a lot last season, but you had Jydro and Piavoso and Schleck, and that's why they found success and they were eventually pod champions. Someone else needs to join the party here offensively, consistently, to join Schiappa as a real scoring threat here.
So the missed foul shot will bring the Tigers on the offensive end again. Towards the corner. South Plainfield with the basketball. They look very in sync right now on the offensive side. As you see on the shot, Brandon Dean got fouled, and he'll be sent to the line for the first time today.
Brandon Dean, the leading scorer on this team by a wide margin, 125 points in 6 games. That's over 20 per game, so he is an instant threat, and we see they're always trying to look to find him the ball. He's been able to hit from 3-point range already in this game. Had a little bit of a heat check on a deeper shot that he missed as he misses this first free throw. But Dean is someone that they really have to cover, and while he sometimes plays the point guard, I don't know if Max Cohn is the person necessarily. Might want to put someone a little taller on Dean defensively, but he's definitely going to be a threat that Metuchen has to try to adjust to.
Second shot is hit, and I would recommend maybe Ben Santis, maybe Liam Benderly, a little bit bigger guys that could probably guard him pretty well. They're very skilled defensively. And we saw them shut down certain players on last week's squad. McDonald was shut down in the second half especially of last week's game against Roselle Park, so they were able to shut them down defensively. We'll see if they could shut down Dean tonight. So far, he already has 4 on the night. Bulldog basketball, Schiappa towards half. That's Dean covering him. Good on defense as well. Here's Santis for 3. He got it. It adds a lot of arc on it, but it goes in for 3.
Great play by Schiappa, finding the open man. Santis made it through the one defender, got the shot up quickly, and was able to convert. Metuchen's got to have some quick shots here to keep pace with this really fast South Plainfield team.
And they're really good at shooting. The Tigers really could shoot the basketball, so the Bulldogs have to be cautious of that. They need to make sure they're guarding those guys, because we saw last week Spites was open a lot, so they cannot let those guys be open on the perimeter for 3, because they're going to make those shots. Schiappa to Cone. Benderly charging in quickly, and he tried to find Emsley, but Emsley wasn't looking that way, and it's going to go out of bounds. 3:59 to go in the first quarter. It's 10-9, South Plainfield in the lead. They look like a great team. Their offense especially looking really in sync, as I mentioned earlier, looking really, really strong, especially shooting the rock. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to run up the score a whole lot, but the Bulldogs keeping pace with them so far.
Yeah, South Plainfield is a high-scoring team. They put up 75 against Denellen, 71 against Pingree, so this is an offense that can score a lot of points in bunches.
And you can't let that happen. You cannot let Dean be open, wide open on the outside, but he misses his 3-pointer. Luckily for the Bulldogs, they get the ball back. Max Cone with Schiappa. 3:27 to go. And it looked like it's going to go the other way. It was a push, so it's going to be a...
Looks like a foul on the floor, so it's going to stay with Metuchen, but the foul was before Schiappa got the shot up.
So Max Cone will inbound it. Clock stopped at 3:24. It's going to hit off the back of the net and go the other way. So the Bulldogs did have the ball back, but it's going to go the other way nonetheless because Cone threw it off the back of the net, which is considered out of bounds. So now it's South Plainfield basketball again.
Those are the kind of unforced errors that you just can't let happen. And stack plays, inbound plays, you always practice, and you can't let mistakes like that happen. You also have to try to close out on Anthony Nigro, who hits another 3-pointer.
Nigro hits a deep 3-pointer, and with ease as well. That's his third 3-point attempt and his third 3-point make. So he is reliable from outside so far. Nigro really is just such a good player shooting the basketball. He's also so far played well defensively. As you see, they kind of bundle up the Metuchen Bulldogs there. They had no one to pass to. Just kind of stopped in the middle, and it was a travel, so it's going the other way. Tigers basketball up now 4 points.
Yeah, Metuchen can't let this spiral into too much. As you see our new center court cam on full display. Glad to have that so that those mid-court views don't get cut out. But Metuchen has to try to make something happen here defensively.
Here's the deep three, and it's just off the mark. A little too strong on the shot.
It's nice defense right there, as I believe that was Benderly who got in on the action, who kind of stripped that one away. That was a great job there. It looked like it was going to be a clean rebound for Nigro, and Benderly reached out and kind of stripped it away, and they ended up calling the jump ball. Metuchen had the possession arrow their way, and they get the takeaway.
Michael Mendez is also in the game now. He just missed his three-point attempt. Mendez is number 24. So it's passed in. Cone tries to shoot over Amanda, and he hits it with that thrifty lefty shot. It goes right in, and now it's 13-11. They cut the lead in half.
First field goal for Max Cone now since his absence. He had those 7 free throw makes in the last game, so nice to see Max Cone getting that stroke back.
South Plainfield with the basketball, slowing down the pace for the first time really today. They've kind of been forcing the shots on the perimeter and kind of not too many drive-ins as he drives in, but misses the layup. That was an attempt there by Tariq Williams, who's also had an unbelievable year scoring the basketball. 93 points scoring so far this year, which is really impressive. 26 rebounds to pair with that, which is the third most on his team. So some impressive numbers for Tariq Williams, both offensively and defensively. The shot is off the mark. It was a three-point attempt by Brandon Dean once again. He's now missed 2 straight three-point attempts, and it's going the other way, Bulldog basketball. Schiappa with it. He's getting covered pretty well. Dean, I think it's safe to say Dean has played their best so far as a defender. I mean, he's looking really good, kind of doing his best to shut down Schiappa, and it's kind of working for the most part so far.
Yeah, Schiappa's looked a little uncomfortable out there. Dean has been aggressive, trying to poke it away from him. Brandon Dean, he leads the team in steals, averaging more than 3 steals per game here through his first 6 games of the season. So we've seen him really on Schiappa, and he's guarding him once again at the top of the key.
The only problem is Schiappa's got him in terms of height by a little while. There's Alec Lataye from the corner, hits off the rim, and it's going the other way. It's Tigers basketball now. Outside Oduvo, another three-point attempt, and it's splashed. Hits the 3. That was Dean for 3, and they're up now by 5. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. Max Cone finds Ben Santis as they'll lead a quick offensive drive. Lataye from underneath. He still has yet to score this year. Alec Lataye has yet to score this year, but he's also been a reliable defender. But shooting the rock hasn't been his specialty so far this year.
Like a travel though for South Plainfield, Metuchen ball, but they've got to close out on these threes. I can connect this to Rutgers since I go to Rutgers. There was a game they had against Illinois where they were so focused on covering the inside, they knew there were some great paint scores, that they were leaving open threes and not rotating quickly enough, and that's exactly what we've seen from the Bulldogs defensively here in this first quarter, as South Plainfield's been able to hit, I believe it's now 5 3-pointers.
Got to stay with the Bulldogs now, as it's going to be Ben Santis going to try to inbound it. So Alec Lataye, as I just said, has not scored any points so far this year, but he's put up some solid defensive numbers, and he's been pretty reliable defensively, so that's why they've kept him in for a lot of play time. Well, he's still looking for his first points, but don't take that away. Don't take lack of points away from how good of a player he actually is. Dom Schiappa with the basketball. He takes the shot, and it's in for 2. So now it's 16-13 with under 10 to go. 5 seconds left. Dean, why not? Throw it up. It is not good. Just missed it by just a few inches. So it's 16-13 Bulldogs at the end of the first quarter. This is a high-scoring game. Each team does not look like they're playing great defense, but the shots have been coming in, and, the opportunities, there's been so many opportunities for both teams so far, and that's why there's been 29 points so far through the first quarter.
Yeah, I can't fault the Bulldogs offensively. They've been playing a really good game. They've had some smart passes. Dom Schiappa's got a couple of nice buckets. Max Cohn has gotten in on the action, so really can't complain about the Bulldogs offense. It's the defense. These three-pointers just keep going in, and they're uncontested largely. Dean made one with a hand in his face earlier, but aside from that, Dean and Nigro have just kept striking them from downtown, and Metuchen's defense has been too focused on guarding at that paint and that low block that when South Plainfield kicks it out, they have no time to spare and they leave someone open, and South Plainfield has such talented shooters that the Tigers are able to capitalize. So Metuchen's defense has struggled, but South Plainfield as well. It seems like once the Bulldogs, on the other hand, get into the paint, South Plainfield sort of tenses up and lets things happen, and we've seen Schiappa be able, once he gets past the first level with Dean on him, he's been able to cut into the paint and make plays happen inside and make some nice post moves, and we've seen some nice screen sets. So both these defenses have to try to improve here as we start the second quarter of play.
And it's pretty clear South Plainfield is a great offensive team. They have 504.4 so far this year, which is the most in the entire GMC Blue Division. So a shot from the corner is off the mark. And also, I will note that they have played a lot of games this season, but still very impressive numbers from that offense. Max Cohn with the basketball after the missed three-point attempt by Dean. He's taken a lot of shots. That's because he's been open a lot. Coming in, that's Malamug, who missed it. It got declined, and now it's going the other way. Lays it up and lays it in. That's Michael Mensch who put it in. And they are up now 5. On the fast break, they convert. First points of the second quarter for South Plainfield. Stolen right away, Dean. And he'll lay it in for 2. 2013. As I said, Dean also really a good defender, as he does it all himself there. Gets the 2 all himself. 2013, Tigers in the lead.
Careless mistakes and self-inflicted wounds. Metuchen can't afford that against a South Plainfield team that can score the ball a lot.
And Schiappa once again converts on the short layup. Hits it, and now it's only a 5-point game. Mensch finds outwards. That's Russell, who finds it inside for a wide open Ikena Ibeku, but he misses, and it's going the other way. So it's Metuchen Bulldogs looking to inbound. Kalen Emsley with the basketball. He'll find Max Cohn, and now they've got an offensive drive with 6:37 to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, Bayou got a little too aggressive trying to pivot inside and turned it over. But just as I say that, another turnover for Max Cohn. We've seen a couple of errant passes from Cohn. Cohn is the point guard, really has to be the facilitator for this team, and we've seen a lot of mistakes from him. And Cohn, like we said, is one of the few real veterans in this team that played significant minutes last season, and he's really struggled here. 3 turnovers early. I think that's all 3 Bulldog turnovers have been of Cohn's doing, but South Plainfield is hurting themselves too there. Another turnover off ball, and the Tigers just cannot get themselves free of this Bulldogs team. Metuchen has had timely scoring to keep pace with South Plainfield's 3-point shooting.
Neither team looks completely great out of the second quarter, out of the end of the first quarter gate into the second quarter, but they'll try to adjust to continue the second quarter. As you see, Lataye subbed out as well as Schiappa. 2 really good players coming out for the Bulldogs. And now they've got Cohn, Emsley, Santis, Benderly, and Malamug out on the court. Malamug hasn't played in a little while. He's back out on the court. And so the Bulldogs are going to keep the basketball in their offensive end. Ben Santis going to inbound once again.
Yeah, it was a foul there against South Plainfield on the floor, so Metuchen keeps possession here. Now let's see what Max Cohn can do. He's got Dean on him. Dean has typically been guarding Schiappa in this game.
Yeah, well, apparently they think Max Cohn is the second most dangerous offensive weapon that Metuchen has, as they put their best defender on Cohn, but he misses the deep 3 shot. South Plainfield from the corner. It's a deep 3. No good from Mensch. He was in the corner, tried to hit 3 more, which would have been really good for momentum, but they weren't able to get it, and now it's going the other way. Bulldogs again. Still hasn't been as much offense in the second quarter. We saw an offensive explosion for pretty much both teams in the first quarter. Hasn't been the same in the second quarter.
Looks like another foul there on South Plainfield as Benderly couldn't get the pass off cleanly. That's going to be foul number 4 against the Tigers here in this first half. And you see Dom Schiappa coming in. What's going to be key, you know Schiappa's not going to be able to play the full 32 minutes. When he has those little breaks off the floor, he's their leading scorer, leading rebounder. How can Metuchen adjust? How can they play well without him on the floor? That's the big question today.
Schiappa is back in. Cone is checked out. And it's going to be Bulldog basketball on the offensive end. Look at him getting swarmed. Dean playing some tight defense, but Schiappa still converts the pass to Ben Santis. Kay Emsley been really good since his return. Checks one to Schiappa, who puts one up and in. Look at that. The fact that he's able to make those long-range jumper shots with ease is so crucial for this Bulldogs team. And it's really their biggest system of points has been through Schiappa with his jump shot. Up in the corner for 3.
Nigro again, that same spot, that deep corner just in front of the Bulldogs sideline, and it has to be frustrating for the Bulldogs sitting on that bench to keep seeing him drilling them time and time again right in front of their faces.
That's his 4th three-pointer of the day, and if you do the math, that's 12 points via the three-point shot for Nigro today, which has just been so tough. And we saw this from the Bulldogs, and really we've seen it all year. The Bulldogs have let up a lot of points through the three-pointer and really through shooting. I mean, they haven't been able to counter it too well, but when they do, they've been doing typically a lot better. In games, you'll see they have a lot more success. Woodbridge wasn't able to shoot too well against the Bulldogs, and they won that game on Saturday. But against Roselle Park, they left Spites wide open a lot, as I keep mentioning. But he was open a lot for three-point tries, and he was able to convert on those, and which is why they were able to win that game in the end.
And Ike, I'm looking at your stats. What's really shocking, Nigro's played all 8 games this season. He's been a good three-point shooter. He's 3rd on the team, but he's only hit 10 threes. He's hit 4 now in the first 12 minutes of this game. So this has been just an amazing period for Nigro, and it seems Metuchen just keeps forgetting about him and focusing on Brandon Dean and others coming down the floor, and Nigro's able to just get to his spot and fire away.
That's something the Bulldogs don't have. They don't really have two consistently great shooters the way that South Plainfield does. So that's been a little bit tough for the Bulldogs to be able to make long shots. We fault them for not being able to convert on too many threes. As you see, 2 more points go in. Schiappa hits the 2, but we haven't seen 2 shooters on the Bulldogs at the same time this year too much. That's Dean for 3. Once again, 3 points added to the board. Tigers up pretty with enough security now, up 7, and all the way. It's going to go the other way. I think that timeout did something for them. They were able to rest a little bit. Their coach kind of went over some plays, and now they're back and they're playing very well after that timeout, Eddie.
Yeah, definitely. And Schiappa is a great scorer. He looks like Kevin Durant down there when he gets inside from about 12 feet away. You know that shot's going in, but Metuchen, time and time again, they just leave open three-point shooters because they all converge into the paint, which is important to stop the 2. But guess what? A three-point shot is worth more. And when you have shooters like Dean and Nigro out there, you have to be able to adjust, and Metuchen's defense has failed to do that so far. This time, though, Dean does something a little different, working inside and getting to the line, where I believe he's 1 of 2 so far.
Speaking of shooters like Dean, he's sent to the line, and Dean so far from the charity stripe has hit 43 points from free throw heading into this game, and now he'll convert on each of those. And he now has 45 free throw points this year, which is way out in front of the next highest, 16 for Tariq Williams. It's going the other way already, and Tigers will keep it down in the offensive side after another giveaway by Max Cone. He's a little sloppy offensively. Really, the whole Bulldogs team has looked sloppy offensively so far. I mean, they came out hot, but ever since the end of the first quarter, they've been a little sloppy, and Max Cone definitely has to fix that turnover issue heading into the rest of the game.
It looked like Joseph Oduvo there just scored to add another 2 points for the Tigers, but Cone 4 turnovers already in this game. They're a nice pass, though.
30-19 is the score on the board right now. Liam Benderly charges in, and it's going to go the other way after it hits the side of the net. It's going the other way. Tigers down low. Dished outside, driving in. Oduvo passes now out. cycling a good offense again. Bulldogs can't really counter it too well so far today, but it's going to be going the other way. Ben Santis, as usual, going to inbound the basketball. They're down 11, 2:53 to go in the second half. You got to expect maybe a Bulldogs timeout to come if they're not able to score on this drive and get the points that they definitely need to make it an easier second half for themselves.
Yeah, rule of thumb, I think you'd want to be within 10 heading into the third quarter, but South Plainfield is just too good with the shot, and from Metuchen, you really just have to throw the hands up at this point, but you've got to be able to close out on these three-point shooters, and you have to limit the turnovers too. The Bulldogs did a good job controlling the ball in the first quarter, aside from that one mistake in the inbound where Cone threw it in off the back of the backboard, but this is now 4 or 5 turnovers here in this second quarter, and it's these types of mistakes that are going to allow South Plainfield to keep getting chances. And when they get chances, they're going to take threes, and they're going to make most of them when you have players like Dean and Nigro out there on the floor.
It's not easy, right? It's not easy to be able to keep your breath at all times against a team like this. They're really running the Metuchen Bulldogs down. And as soon as they're able to get a break, I'm sure they'd love that, because Metuchen looks exhausted here in the second quarter. They're being run out by that offense. Metuchen can't really counter it too well. We haven't seen them really find a good alternative to that, a good alternative defensive scheme against that offense. And so they look really tired right now in the second quarter.
I'm honestly surprised by the timeout choice by South Plainfield, because it felt like the Tigers had taken all the momentum away, and with just 2 minutes remaining in the half, I think they should have, like you were talking about, Metuchen was clearly kind of getting worn out there. I think South Plainfield should have played that to their strength. They had already made some substitutions to try to run it out and see if you could maybe extend this lead before the break. This kind of gives Metuchen a chance to set up a play or two and have some good offensive possessions, and if they can get a stop, maybe cuts this back to single digits. But I think a lot of this harkens back to the fact that Metuchen, the roster is so different from last year. Of course, a new coach as well. So many seniors last season, and with all that being the case, there's a lot of people with a lack of experience at the varsity level. A lot of players who played in JV last season, but other than Schiappa and Cone, none of these players really had big impacts on the varsity roster last year. So just getting used to the varsity level, I think this team could be really good in a couple of years, but I think there's still work to be done, and finding people aside from Dom Schiappa that can produce has really been the issue and the theme for this beginning of the season.
Right, you can't say they're not getting better. They have looked a lot better on each and every game. And I was with Danny Kuhn earlier, and he said, we are getting better every single game. And I said, yeah, it does look like that, because the way they're playing is they're getting each game. If they're losing, it's cutting it to a slimmer margin, and they won their game on Saturday. And they're just looking better overall throughout the season. It's all about the chemistry. There's the missed three-pointer, and going up to rebound it was Nigro, and he went down. Excuse me, that was not Nigro. That was Stephen Mensch who went down.
That's the type of mistake also Metuchen can't really afford. He would have fallen, and he would have ended up picking up a travel there if Santis had just not touched him there on the rebound. And Nigro again for 3.
And that one's missed. Schiappa comes down with it. Here come the Bulldogs. Schiappa with the basketball. Again, tight defense. He's countering right now. Dean has been the solution defensively so far for the Tigers. Kicks it to Schiappa. He takes the 3 and misses. Coming in hot is Liam Benderly, but it's still going the other way. South Plainfield basketball. Coming in for 2. They'll take the easy 2. Mensch lays it in off the backboard. 1:18 to go. And now it's a 13-point game. Bulldogs have to hit a 3 to make it that 10-point lead you said was so crucial heading in to the second half.
Another turnover for Cone. That's 5 now. Led Schiappa a little too far, and Dom couldn't really get the fingertips on it. Threw it a little high for him. And Dom, earlier possession, Metuchen does not shoot many three-pointers. They've only made 8 three-pointers this season. 5 of them belong to Schiappa. Last year you had players like Piavoso and Schleck who could hit from deep, but this roster isn't really meant for that, and that's going to hurt them against teams that can shoot the deep ball.
Looked like a contested football catch as Schiappa comes down with it, tries to lay it in, and he gets swatted off the backboard. That was Jalen Russell with the swat. He came on off the bench earlier today, but he's been making a quake so far today. 50.6 to go, and Schiappa's sent to the line for 2. And trying to cut this within a reasonable margin for halftime. Schiappa with the basketball for 2 shots. Down 13. The first shot is up and in. And the Bulldogs are now just down 11. Just down 12 with under a minute to go. And their season high so far this year has been 56 points, and they set it on Saturday. So we'll see if they can crack that today. A team that typically struggles offensively was able to crack a nice 56 points on Saturday, as you see Schiappa hit the second one. He hits both free throws, and now they're within 11 points with under a minute to go, just around 45 seconds left in first half play. Tigers basketball. Floats one towards the corner. Mendez with the basketball. He's getting contested by Benderly. And you see in the corner right closest to us in the camera view, that's a wide open Dean, and you do not want to see that if you're Metuchen coaches, fans, players, or really anything. But he doesn't end up getting the ball. It slipped in for 2, and Tigers now up 13 as it's going to go the other way. Max Cone, again, another turnover. He's just kind of...
It's actually a moving pick there on Emsley, picking up
sorry.
the offensive foul. But in general, I know Cone's been the main guilty culprit today, but Metuchen's had a lot of costly turnovers that just keep giving South Plainfield chances. And on that previous possession, they made them pay for 2, but also at the same time, South Plainfield had both Dean and Nigro wide open. So they had 3 legitimate options to score there, and Metuchen ended up allowing the basket.
Shooting for 3, Mendez is off the mark, and now Bulldogs on the offensive side. Schiappa chucks it up with no time left, and he just misses it. Just a little short on the 3-point chance from Schiappa, so we're headed into the second half of play, and right now it's 34-21. South Plainfield in the lead. Metuchen looked hot out of the gate. They played a really good first quarter offensively, really, and defensively, the best they could. But in the second quarter, they didn't look too good, Eddie.
No, and that's the problem. South Plainfield's a very talented team. They're 5-3 right now. They've had a tough schedule as well, but the team that can shoot the ball, the lights out the way that South Plainfield has, Metuchen, just with this roster, it's going to be difficult for them to keep pace with them in the long run. This is a Tigers team that is beating Metuchen 4 out of the last 5 meetings, and that was in a time where South Plainfield had a weaker roster and Metuchen had a stronger one. So with the changes, this is not really a surprise. I liked the way the Bulldogs played in the first quarter, but then in the second, we saw them get sloppy. We saw a lot of turnovers from this team, a few offensive fouls as well, some poor passes, some poor shot choices. And this team is riding and dying too much by Dom Schiappa right now. Schiappa's played a good game, but there's just no second or third option right now for this Metuchen offense, which I think is really going to be the real trouble for this season for the Bulldogs. So hopefully they can get that synced out, but right now I think there's a lot to be improved upon here for Metuchen, and a lot to look at in the break. Still 13-point game. If they can get the hot shooting back that they had in the first quarter and get some stops, they can get themselves right back into this game. It's not insurmountable, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
That's it for the first half of play. 34-21 is our score from the Brainy Borough. Some good second half basketball in store. Don't leave us now. We'll see you later. Back for the second half of play, 34-21. Tigers in the lead. Bulldogs haven't really been able to find an answer defensively for the Tigers' best shooters, mostly for Brandon Dean, most notably, and Anthony Nigro. They have been awesome, especially from outside. Nigro with 4 3-pointers. Bulldogs have to find an answer on defense. What could they do for the second half that's different from what they did in the first half?
Just simply close out on the 3. Play some outdoor defense. Just go outside. Try to cover out the arc. I mean, if you want to allow a couple of 2-point baskets in exchange for covering the 3, that's one thing, but something's got to change because this defense can't be allowing 34 points in one half and allowing 5 3-point baskets in one quarter. So there's still improvements that need to be made here for the Bulldogs. And then offensively, got to try to find someone else other than Schiappa who can get in on the fun and try to get some scoring going.
So we've got more basketball play for the second half of basketball. Metuchen Bulldogs basketball. Max Cohn's got it. Finds Schiappa. Schiappa getting guarded pretty tight and charging in. He puts it up. Contested well, but he still lays in the 2. And now the Bulldogs cut into that lead with 2 more. Dished in, and it's laid up and in. Perfect play. Oduvo with the layup. And now 36-23, South Plainfield in the lead.
The Metuchen front court is really just allowing themselves to get pushed around by Oduvo and also Dean, who's worked in it a few times. And we've seen Benderly and Santis and Emsley all at different times be a little too calm and just let things happen.
Santis got physical a bit. The ball goes loose. And now it's South Plainfield again with the basketball. Here come the Tigers. As it's thrown, the pass was intended for Anthony Nigro. That was Dean who threw it. It ends off... hits off of a Bulldog and goes out of bounds. Benderly swatted it away, and now it's South Plainfield inbounding it from just under the opposing hoop. 36-23. Nigro loses the ball. It's going to roll out of bounds, but they're saying it's staying there. It looked a lot like Santis knocked it out. It went off Nigro, and it would be Bulldogs basketball, but it's going to be staying on that side of the court.
I don't know about that call. Coach Cardillo had his arms up, and so did Ben Santis. Just very confused there, but South Plainfield gets a little bit of a lucky break right there.
It gets swatted away towards the corner. Cohn playing solid defense so far, putting it up, and it's a foul. That was Tariq Williams who went up for 2. He tried to hit the shot. He hasn't been as productive offensively. He's the second highest scorer on the team, but he hasn't been playing offensively as incredibly as I expected him to, but really defensively he's been really good. He had that swat on the Schiappa layup. It got hit off the backboard. It was a foul, but you just see how aggressive he is defensively, and he hasn't really been living up to his 93 points heading into this game that he was able to produce offensively.
Something that South Plainfield is really good at is drawing fouls compared to Metuchen. We see the Bulldogs were a little erratic when a little out of control when they put shots up. Williams couldn't cash in at the line, but they're getting a lot of extra opportunities at the free throw line because they're able to lean into players and draw fouls and get those extra chances from the charity stripe.
Well, Metuchen and South Plainfield pretty much evenly sized. In the past, we've seen Metuchen taller or shorter than other teams overall. They're pretty much the same size as them in this game, so it's not as much as a height contest as we've seen in the past. As you see a fast break layup, 2 more for South Plainfield. Metuchen basketball now. Max Cohn across the timeline. Cohn to Schiappa. You see that center camera view we have. There's Kalen Emsley, who passes to Cohn. He tries the 3, but it's just shy, and it goes back to the Tigers. And lacking shooters, as always, the Bulldogs missing another 3-pointer.
I thought Benderly just saved that there. I didn't see his foot touch. Maybe it was a little out of our camera view. But before that, Max Cohn tried the 3, but it wasn't a smart decision. That's not really his range, and it was contested as well. Probably could have gotten a better shot.
And the shot is up, but just a little shy, backed into the corner. And now Dean's got it. Oduvo in the middle, cycling around. It's a shot. That one is up, and that is good. Williams hits it. And now it's Max Cohn who's going to direct some traffic for the Bulldogs offensively. And that another 3-pointer is converted. Sahil Gujarathy who started last game, is seeing his first minutes now. Oduvo on the fast break hits it, and how slow could they be out of the second half? They just don't look too good, Metuchen that is. They really haven't been able to do too much offensively. They're down 43-23 right now. They've given the ball away a lot. They haven't scored really any points. It's been tough from the Bulldogs the second half. More of the same so far. It's just like the way they ended the second quarter.
I don't really like the way this team has looked at all over these first 2.5 minutes of the third quarter. They look very lazy. It's just very lacking in, confidence, it seems like. Just these passes have been repeatedly errant and putting up bad shots. We've seen Gujrathi, Cone turning over the ball, and unfortunately a couple of calls haven't gone their way either, and it's allowed this South Plainfield lead to sort of blossom into something that it wasn't really earlier. It was 16-13 South Plainfield back in the first quarter. Since then, it's been a 27-10 Tiger run, and I know I keep mentioning Rutgers, and I'm sorry about that, but I can compare this yesterday. Rutgers women's basketball played against Michigan, and Michigan was definitely a better team, and the Scarlet Knights kept pace with them through the first quarter of that game, just like we saw here, and then Michigan started to hit the outside shot. They started to have more confidence and make some plays, and that's when things changed, and before you knew it, the Wolverines were up 25 points in the second quarter, so I think we're seeing a similar thing here. South Plainfield didn't play their best basketball in the first quarter. Now they're living up to their talents, and Metuchen just doesn't really have any answers.
Metuchen's going to try to forget what just happened. Gujrathi almost gave the ball away again, but they're going to get the ball back anyway. It's a shot from deep range, and Kaylin Emsley was unable to hit the long-range jumper from 2, and it's going to go out of bounds, staying on that side of the court. Metuchen basketball from the side. You see Marcus Malamug checked in, Gujrathi is out, Benderly, Schiappa, and Kaylin Emsley out on the court for the Bulldogs.
And Ike, something else I noticed with this team is we see another giveaway in South Plainfield running it back for another easy layup. It's not any of their faults, but I feel like Metuchen has a roster composition that's a little too heavy at like the power forward spot. You've got a lot of players, Benderly, Santis, Emsley, don't have a ton of speed or agility, but they have height but not too much height, and there's a lot of missing pieces on this team, and it feels like they're kind of overloaded to that one spot.
Malamug saves the ball from going out of bounds, and Max Cohn's going to bring the ball across half again. He'll dribble along. Dean on defense, guarding him tightly. As if Dean's on Cone, that could only mean Schiappa's not being guarded by him. He tries to run into the play, and now Dean and the Tigers with a 4-on-1 offensive try. It's passed backwards, and then back to Dean, and he lays in 2 more for South Plainfield. Bulldogs inbounding now. South Plainfield is just breaking away. Bulldogs really kind of letting this get away from them. Metuchen needs to be able to put some points on the board. Right now they're losing by 24 points, which is the biggest margin it's been all night.
Nice basket, though, there from Emsley. Nice pass from the outside from Benderly to set that up.
Well, no matter how well their offense does, which it's not doing too great, but no matter how well their offense does, their defense isn't making up for anything. So they got to find some solutions. They have to, because right now they're losing by 22 points, 3:46 to go in the third quarter. Still struggling here are the Bulldogs. Danny Kuhn checked in. Alec Lataye also checked in. Emsley comes out. Cone comes out. Another giveaway. South Plainfield basketball. Danny swats it away on the pass. Intended across, and that was intended for Gregorio Zambrana, and he's been on the bench all day. He'll come out to the outline. He's going to try to take a 3, actually passing it inside. But you're starting to see players that aren't even starters, aren't even, first-line bench players play for South Plainfield. It's not really a good sign for the Bulldogs. You're seeing the same with Metuchen. You don't really typically see Danny play too much, the sophomore. Danny Kuhn, and you're kind of starting to see that they're breaking away at this point, and they kind of let that game get away from them. There's still plenty of time, though. We'll see what Metuchen can do in these final minutes. And we have about just over 11 minutes to go in total play. 3:02 to go in the third quarter. 3-point attempt is off the mark, and now it's going the other way for the Bulldogs.
That was a great job, though, on defense from Marcus Malamug. Rare that we've seen the defense close out on 3. There, Malamug came running in from the free throw line and made a play as a timeout on the floor. But Malamug, great job there. Rare time that we've seen a contested three-pointer here for South Plainfield. But in this third quarter, Ike, it has not been the three ball that's been hurting Metuchen. It's these turnovers and South Plainfield on the break outrunning the Bulldogs and getting easy layups at the basket. And Metuchen's had decent spacing offensively, but they keep trying these erratic cross-court passes, and South Plainfield has so much time to just jump in front of them and get these takeaways. And it's one of the many reasons why Metuchen finds themselves having the deficit they do here late in the third quarter.
So Metuchen taking a little longer on this timeout. So they'll have the ball when we return. And the offense still out there. That's Danny Kuhn, Ben Santis, Liam Benderly, Alec Lataye, and then up top, Marcus Malamug as well. Dean playing some defense on Benderly. Shifts one outside. Lataye looking for his first points of the year, and it doesn't go. Going to stay with the Bulldogs as it hit off of Zambrana's head and went out of bounds. So it's Bulldog basketball from under the hoop.
Yeah, Zambrana looked like a soccer player there because it almost looked like a header as he ended up hitting it out of bounds inadvertently. But at this point, Metuchen down 22. You see Dom Chiappa on the bench. I don't really think he necessarily needs to play much more tonight. Got to get him some rest for a future game.
Santis kind of hurls one up for Benderly, and he loses it in the process. It goes out of bounds, and it's going to go the other way. Tigers basketball. It's a 22-point game. Hasn't been much scoring lately here in the third quarter, but as we started off the third quarter, Tigers were pretty much scoring whenever they wanted to. Bulldogs kind of playing better defense now, but they cannot get offense, as that one swatted away. Dean with the basketball. He's been their best player so far today. Here come the Tigers. Dished out. Mendez passed it away. Driving in. And the corner three-point, Mendez misses. We haven't seen too many three-point attempts, and definitely not too many three-point hits so far for South Plainfield in the second half.
I have no idea how there was no foul called there. It looked like there was a foul on both teams, and again, they're going for it, hitting the floor. But the Bulldogs have done, if I can give them one, benefit, there's not many positives, but you always got to look for the positives. They've done a much better job of containing the three-point shot that South Plainfield was really killing them with in the first half. They've done a good job adjusting to that in the third quarter. But like I said, hard to find too many positives today, but we know this is still a developing team that has a lot of work to do.
Puts up the floater, and it's good for 2. About to crack 50 points are the Tigers. 49-25. This would be the least amount of points Metuchen would put up if they stay at this rate. And Schiappa, as soon as he comes in, makes that splash they needed to get 2 and get back within 22.
Chiappa has been really the only effective player on the Bulldogs today. I also wonder if fatigue is starting to set in, because this is 3 games in 4 days for Metuchen too. Of course, the COVID-19 pause came at an untimely point, changed the plans with the holiday tournament, and now has left the Bulldogs' schedule kind of stacked up for the time being with a lot of games in a short period of time. And, having played Friday and Saturday, I think again today, maybe those minutes are starting to pile up for some of these guys who had spent winter break, Christmas, New Year's, maybe not doing as much basketball-related activities as they had been in previous weeks, and a lot of them dealing with COVID-19 as well. And with all of that said, I think Metuchen, it's not the best time for them, and I think they are starting to tire out. 3 games in a 72-hour span is a lot on these young legs.
Cone is back in. So is Emsley. And the next shot is good. 51-27. Both shots are good from the line, and now Cone's got the basketball. Metuchen throws this one. That was Cone again with a giveaway, and now on the fast break, puts it up. And it's down. It looked like Schiappa maybe fouled him. But, so that was...
It's Jalen Russell there, I think, and he got hammered right there. Lataye tried to go in for the clean block, kind of got him on the second half of that. I am impressed. I know Lataye is still looking for that first basket, but he provides a rare spark on this team. He's got a lot of height, but he's got a ton of speed as well, and he's a great passer. And you mentioned his defense earlier in the broadcast as well. As Russell, I think he's hurting a little bit as he took that stumble, and that was a pretty bad miss from the free throw line.
So we got a 24-point game now. Lataya, you're exactly right. I mean, I think he does make some sort of splash. That's why he's playing so much. Because even if he's not even able to necessarily put too many points on the board, he's a really good passer. And that's a really underrated quality in a basketball game. To be able to pass well is such an underrated quality, and to be a playmaker like he is really an awesome thing. Schiappa lays in 2, and now it's a 22-point margin. Once again, Tigers moving with fast pace across the court, but it goes out of bounds. That was off Nigro, and it's going the other way. Emsley checks it in. 25 seconds to go. Cone across the middle with the basketball, and the ball comes loose a little bit, and it's going to be staying on this side.
I think there was a kicked ball there on South Plainfield as Metuchen will keep possession here, and Schiappa's out there. He's going to be someone they're going to be looking for, maybe for a final shot here.
Cody Cardillo inbounds it. Thrown over to Cone. He kind of just taps it over. Lataye has scored points this year. Wide open, and what a play by Cone. You want to talk about good passing? He kind of just slapped it Lataye's way and made for a quick pass and 2. Coming in, jukes out, Lataye trying to make the layup with no time left, and it's off the mark. So we got a 20-point game headed into the fourth quarter. You know, this game may be out of reach, but in this last minute or two, I like what I'm seeing from the Bulldogs. Maybe if they play this whole game the way they're playing right now, they'd be in a closer game.
Yeah, I do. I like the way they've played. They're coming out with some more hustle. We've seen some nice passes. That last possession there to eventually get it to Lataya. You saw 3 smart passes. It started with the inbound to Cardillo. You saw the defense flank to Schiappa, wanted to take him out of the play, and the Bulldogs just tried to find the open man. Schiappa was double teamed, which meant automatically somebody was bound to be open, and it ended up being Lataya inside. But I like the way Metuchen's played. I don't think they're going to be erasing a 20-point deficit, but this is a team, this is only the 5th game coached by James Cardillo. Many of these guys, this is just their 5th time playing on a varsity game. They've only been at the varsity level for just a couple of weeks, so there's still a lot of growth. This is still a learning experience for a team with a lot of guys that are going to be here for the next 1, 2, 3 years. So any time you can get, any playing time you can get to try to work things out for future games this season and beyond, I think is really good for the growth of these players and the next steps of this program in the James Cardillo era coaching the Metuchen Bulldogs.
Looking ahead for the Bulldogs, they have Bard at 6 p.m. on January 12th, which will be on Wednesday. Then Spotswood at home as well. So 2 home games, that game will be on Friday. So 2 games this week and at home, and then on the 19th it'll be against South River. That's a rematch from an earlier matchup from earlier this year. They lost that one 65-47. Metuchen looking to redeem themselves in that matchup. Schiappa tries to go in on the layup, and he missed it. And Cone went down, maybe a charging, but no call. And so now underneath, the shot is up, or the layup, is off the mark. You're seeing minutes right now for the first time from Jack Massett, the senior forward. And he missed the layup to start his day off here late in the fourth quarter, as you see Max Cone take it across the timeline.
I really like this unit of 5 out there. Cardillo and Lataye both providing sparks off the bench. Schiappa and Cone playing well as well. I think this is a great group that Metuchen's going with. But Schiappa now has shot the ball so well today, but has missed his first 2 attempts of the fourth quarter.
And that's not an easy shot to make, but it just misses the mark. And now Dean kind of slowing things down and just kind of wasting the time a little bit, because let's face it, both teams kind of want to get out of here. Of course, Metuchen wants to find a way to win this game, of course, but at some point they're down 20, 6:39. You're starting to play your bench guys, and the time is running, and I don't think they're too opposed to that. So Cody Cardillo has the basketball now. Finds Kay Emsley. Schiappa still in and playing with full energy and playing with full success as well as he lays in off the backboard, Schiappa, and those are their 33rd points of the day. Coming in, that's a shot, and it's a deep 2 for Dean, who hits it long range, and 2 more to add to that Tigers total for tonight.
Brandon Dean is such a threat on the offensive side, and doing it again, Metuchen has simply not found someone that can match up with him well.
Why not just take the shot from deep 3 territory? He misses just a bit, but it's going to go the other way. Metuchen has really kind of stepped up their offensive game, but their defense still, really from today, just hasn't been too great. It's looking better in these last few minutes. Their offense looking a little bit better, but again, at what point is it just tough to come back? It's really probably out of reach at this point, but you really got to love the way the Metuchen Bulldogs are playing. You're playing some of your bench players. They're looking really good. You're seeing some younger players do some pretty solid work. The future of this program for the next 1 or 2 years. So kind of play your guys, try them out, see what happens late in the fourth quarter now. South Plainfield with the basketball. Middle camera this is the first time we've seen this in action, and I really like it as a broadcaster, being able to see from that middle view. We haven't seen that too much. We talked a little bit about it, but being able to see from that view, it's very nice because, it's always kind of tough to see those middle parts of the court, the front middle parts. There's 2 shots. The first one is good on the foul shot. Another
Nigro there at the line. He's had 4 3-pointers in the first half, and you see just a smooth stroke. Doesn't even really, obviously on the free throws he doesn't jump, but even on the 3-pointers, he just bends the legs. Looks like Ryan Anderson in the NBA years ago. That 3-point shot where he just does not leave the ground and just has such a calm and collected stroke.
Emsley will get those 2 points back after the assist from Cody Cardillo, son of the head coach James Cardillo. If you sense the pattern in the last name. Driving in, the pass intended. That was a pass intended for Jack Massett.
Looks like a foul on the floor against Metuchen there as Nigro was trying to get the pass out. That's 6 fouls now against Metuchen, so South Plainfield 1 away from the bonus. That's also 4 fouls now against Latale.
Coming in and subbing out. Out comes Lataye, in comes Benderly. And on the outside, on the perimeter, you have Mendez wide open. Cone kind of moves over there, and look at that aggressiveness. He knew Mendez was open, and he was waiting for the pass to come to him so he could come over and intercept that. And a little spark coming in as Cody Cardillo lays it in. The assist by Liam Benderly. 18-point game. They're back within under 20 for the first time in a little while.
That's the best possession I've seen from the Bulldogs all game. Schiappa wasn't even involved as we see a tie-up down there and a timeout called here actually by South Plainfield. Cone read the pass perfectly, got the steal, got it over to K. Emsley, and it set that pass up perfectly. That just a great 3-man game right there without Schiappa involved. That's what you got to see. You got to see other players stepping up. Cone making up for some of those first half mistakes as the point guard with those 5 turnovers, and now defensively stepping up there. And I like the way the Bulldogs played that. And ever since about the 1-minute mark in the third quarter, it's been a respectable run here from Metuchen. They were down by as much as 25. They've cut it to 18, and right now keeping pace with South Plainfield. Not to the extent that they did in the first quarter, but it's a nice resurgence from this Bulldogs team that looks completely outclassed in the second quarter and for the better part of the third.
The point is they're not really, not keeping pace at this point. Like you said, they're keeping pace. It's just that they're keeping pace too little and too late. At this point, they entered the quarter down about 20, and now, it's hard to keep pace and win the game, especially when you're down 20. You have to exceed that pace and just be able to go up 20 and win the quarter by about 20 points. But, they did win the fourth quarter by a good amount last game. They won by, they kind of got +8 in the fourth quarter, and they were down heading into the fourth quarter last game against Woodbridge. So fourth quarter hasn't been too bad this season, and we saw Roselle Park kind of broke the streak. Roselle Park, their game against Roselle Park, they blew that lead, but they were pretty good heading into the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 minutes when they kind of blew up a pretty solid lead they had. But That's besides the point. Coming in now, here comes the offense. South Plainfield again. A 3-point attempt, and he's been off the mark for a little while now, but he misses the 3. That is Anthony Nigro. It's going to stay with the Bulldogs in the offensive end.
Michael Mendez got tripped up there, looked a little shaken up, but walking it off. Kind of got tied up with Benderly on the run and went down.
Cone just kind of looked right at Cody Cardillo, but didn't dish to him. Instead, he finds Chiappa, who made it look easy, driving through about 3 players, lays it in off the glass. What a play that was by Dom Schiappa.
And you wonder about the potential about what the Bulldogs could have done in a GMC tournament last year if Schiappa was healthy and, you had a full season with Dreher, with Schleck, with Piavosa. We saw them win their pod, but if the full GMC tournament, obviously, if the circumstances were better, and if Schiappa had been healthy, we saw him miss a bunch of games last season because that is just unstoppable. South Plainfield is such a great defense. They've been able to shut down the rest of the Bulldogs roster, but once Schiappa gets within about 15 feet of the basket, nobody has any chance no matter how tall they are.
Cody Cardillo getting plenty of space on the other half. And Metuchen is going to get the ball. It's going to be inbounded by Kay Emsley, who's, by the way, been a very good addition to the Bulldogs. He didn't play for the first 2 games, but since he's been back, he's been pretty reliable and really fun to watch, actually. A playmaker, he's a good passer, he's pretty big, and he does a lot for the Bulldogs team. Despite how many points he gets, he's still really, really effective overall as a player. And Benderly lays in 2 as he's fouled. A chance for a 3-point play right now. It's a 14-point game. Now, I know there's 4 minutes left, but, you never know what could happen here in the last 4 minutes. Don't want to say anything, as you got Liam Benderly at the line now. 14-point game.
South Plainfield has made some weird decisions about when they've used their timeouts. I'd call one if Benderly makes this free throw if I were them. 3 timeouts left.
And he hits it. Benderly usually has that pretty high arc free throw shot, and he didn't have it there on that foul shot. He kind of just shot it, I don't want to say normally, but just kind of like a typical shot there, and it goes in. So maybe a new strategy from the line from Liam Benderly as he gets the 3-point play completed. 55-42. And Metuchen is going to wrestle down Dean. That was Cody Cardillo getting a little scrappy there, but it looked like Schiappa was kind of motioning for a travel down there, but I think Cody kind of forced him down, so he's gonna get the 1-and-1 chance from the bonus line.
Yeah, at the bonus right now. Cardillo kind of forced him down. Benderly ended up being the recipient of the foul, though. It was a weird situation. It was a tough foul call to make, but I see where the officials were coming from as we see front end of the 1-and-1 here for Dean. And any free throw, he's not the person you want to have at the line. He's such a great free throw shooter. We talked about what a disparity he has compared to the rest of the Tigers in points from the charity stripe, and he just has so much confidence when he steps up to that line.
Despite being shut down a lot of this game for the Metuchen offense, they're still putting up 42 points, which is actually pretty solid for Metuchen, at least. Their record right now, 56, but besides that, 48. Schiappa fouled as he hits the layup. Some fight from the Metuchen Bulldogs. He could make a 3-point play, as you could hear that fight I'm talking about. The bench all stood up. The crowd loud as ever, even with limited fan attendance. And Schiappa, chance to complete a 3-point play. You got to think South Plainfield's a little nervous now. Now, as you said, if Schiappa hits this extra, if he adds the extra point here, makes it a 3-point play, definitely have to call a timeout.
Yeah,
if I'm South Plainfield.
You got 3 left, and he doesn't get the free throw to fall, but the energy in this crowd on this comeback has been really nice, but Metuchen's defense has to keep it going.
Driving in. This could cut the momentum a bit. It's thrown up, but missed. Dean missed the shot, and it's going to be back on the offensive end. South Plainfield got the rebound. Good play by Mensch to get the ball, and now they're still kind of slowing down that pace of the game. South Plainfield with the basketball. Dean, really the X factor in all factors of this game. He juked out Benderly, takes the 3-point attempt, but he misses it. I mean, look at that. He kind of broke Benderly's ankles. All he had to do was complete the 3-point play, but he wasn't able to. He's sent to the line, though.
Poor decision by Benderly to hold him back when he shot that, because this is now 3 free throws from Dean, who can open this back up to 15 if he converts them. So that's a tough one to take, but misses the first one there. I'm surprised we haven't seen Lataye back on the floor because he played a very efficient third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. Ben Santis as well. I'm curious to see how long Cardillo's willing to stick with this unit, or if this is the group he goes with for the duration. But I'm impressed with Metuchen. This has been a nice recovery after they played 2 really bad quarters to at least put up a fight here against South Plainfield towards the end.
That's right, and even if they come out with the L today, at least they showed some fight, especially in the fourth quarter. Even getting to see a little bit more from each guy, they've showed some fight here in the fourth quarter. It's been impressive as Dean lays in 2 on the Cody Cardillo turnover. And Cody Cardillo's still in there right now. Sooner rather than later, I'd expect a timeout or a sub-in for a new player, maybe Lataye, as you said, or maybe Ben Santis, someone, maybe some fresh legs to open up this offense, because right now they need a lot of points, so they need some big shooters, some good passers, maybe Lataye, maybe even Gudrafi, who has proved that he's a pretty solid shooter as well. So we could see, some subs in and out, but I'm sure there will be a timeout from either Metuchen or South Plainfield in the next few minutes, and that's when they'll do their subbing, I assume. It's hit off of Oduvo's legs, and it goes back out of bounds. Cohn's going to inbound again, once again, hitting it off a defender.
Cohn's had a lot of trouble with these inbounds in this game. Maybe it might be time for Coach Cardillo to have someone else operating those.
Look at Schiappa. Fouled as he takes a shot from around the charity stripe. He hits it. And now he's going to get the chance for the three-point play again. He missed his last foul shot, which is not something you see too much from number 5, but he'll try to make it a three-point play. 14-point game now. He could get this point and make it a 13-point game. So everyone watching the scoreboard, South Plainfield kind of cautiously watching, but, we still got some time to go, but they need some points. There's no doubt about that. 47 on the day for the Bulldogs and 60 on the day so far for South Plainfield. On the corner, Dean, 3. He got it. And that is a dagger.
That's a tough one because it seemed like Metuchen had the confidence, the charisma. You had Dom Schiappa hitting the gritty there before the end one, but Brandon Dean has just been unstoppable. He and Nigro from 3. Metuchen has just had no answers. And all those three-pointers they gave up in the first quarter really are hurting this team. 5 threes allowed in the first quarter, and that's really the tough one. As sounds like we got some Monday Night Football music on the ringtone, but 2 minutes to go, 16-point game, just a little tough right now for the Bulldogs, looking a little insurmountable.
Checked in, Cody Cardillo passes to Max Cohn. Schiappa, why not put 3 on the board, but he can't quite convert. It's back in, game slowed down, momentum back on South Plainfield's side. It's kind of dying down now. They still have Cardillo out there. They still have Benderly. These are guys that have been playing for a little while now. And Cardillo gets knocked down on the charge and in for 2. 65-47 is our score. Max Cohn moving his way up. He'll throw one in. Benderly gets the second pass on the drive, and it's no good. And it goes out of bounds. We'll stay with the Bulldogs, though. Checking in is Ben Santis. As expected, coming out is Cardillo. He played for a little while, and he played pretty well. But kind of, gotta give him a rest at some point. He's been in for a little while. Schiappa on the outside. And right now, South Plainfield is just a few points away from getting their season record, which is 65. So if they're able to get any points, they'll be up the most they will have scored the most they have ever scored offensively. Charging in, this is no good. It's going to stay with South Plainfield as it hit off of Benderly. He doesn't seem too happy about the call. We've got 16 points in favor of South Plainfield right now.
Before that, though, that was a nice shot by Cohn. He struggled in a lot of ways today, but Cohn there was able to work it in from the elbow and fake out a defender and put up a shot from about 12 feet away, nothing but net. But for Metuchen, down 16 minutes ago. It's going to be a loss for this team, but I think things could have been much worse with the way they were trending in the third quarter, and this team showed some late life, and Dom Schiappa is just having an amazing season. The Marywood commit, we know why he's going to be playing college basketball. He is so tenacious. He's so aggressive. Once he gets within about 15 feet, nobody is stopping him, especially a team like South Plainfield. They have a lot of assets, but they don't have a ton of size. They don't have a ton of big guys that can really lock down the paint. That's one question I have for the Tigers moving forward through this season, and to see how they contend in the GMC championships, in the GMC tournament. Obviously, a lot of great teams basketball-wise in the GMC, like Monroe and St. Joseph, St. Thomas, but it's going to be tough. But you see South Plainfield shooting the basketball and scoring points. That's what's really their benefit.
Right now, it's just seeing who could get some more stats their way late in the game. Maybe Schiappa can break some more records with this help of about 45 seconds we have left. Going with the basketball, and now it's Kay Emsley. Just 33 seconds left. Not too much, but as Benderly kind of tried to wacky shot, but he gets fouled on the play. Anything to get him to the line, I guess. Benderly will try to shoot two. He's 1 for 1 from the line today. 30 seconds exactly left on the game.
And that's the tough thing when I look back at this team. I mean, this is my first time being back at the high school for a boys game. The Metuchen doesn't really have the size and the bigs that they've had in the past. I mean, I'm used to past years with Jai Dreher, Luke Schleck, even dating back to Daniel Petto, where you had all that height inside where you could make something happen and, use your height to an advantage. It seems like Liam Benderly and Kalen Emsley have to be a little more flashy than straight up use their size to body someone out of the way. And this is a South Plainfield team that doesn't have much height to begin with. So when Metuchen has to face teams that have that asset, I don't really know how well Benderly and Emsley and Santos are going to be able to produce. And even Schiappa, who's been able to facilitate the paint today, but might not have as much luck going into future games this season.
Well, Benderly, who's typically not so great of a shooter, he's 3 for 3 at the line today. So pretty solid day for Benderly. I liked what I saw from him. But obviously the X factor today was Dean, right? Dean was so good. And for Metuchen, obviously Schiappa. But I want to talk about Dean. He's been so effective offensively and defensively as Schiappa lays in the last 2 points of the game. But this game is over. It's a 16-point game. Dean was really the best player today. Offensively and defensively, I'm taking Dean over anyone.
Yeah, Brandon Dean was unstoppable. Hit 3 3-pointers in the first quarter and just kept it rolling all through. Was able to work it inside, hit some baskets, had some nice layups, was able to hit from the free throw line, had a couple of takeaways, but Metuchen, learning experience, 16-point game, could have been a lot worse, but there's a lot to take away from this game. There's some positives. The fight we saw towards the end, I think is something you can be definitely happy about, but there's a lot of work for this Bulldogs team. They've got to be able to hit their shots a little better. They have to close out on three-point shooters. They have to limit the fouls as well, and just stop making mistakes that they don't need to make. We saw so many errant passes, poor decision making, trouble on inbounds, a lot of offensive fouls in the first half as well. Things like that the Bulldogs can ill afford if they want to really make a run and have a solid season in GMC Blue Division play. They've got an out-of-conference opponent, like you said, coming up in Bard, and then you've got a couple of Blue Division matchups coming up against rivals like Spotswood and South River that you know are going to put up a tough fight, and there's some added motivation whenever you're playing a rival. So there's work to be done, but I had fun calling this game and being back here at Metuchen High School for the action. But for the Bulldogs, falling to 1-4, South Plainfield improving to 6-3 with a 69-53 win. The Tigers did their job, scored just about 70 points, which is what they're averaging this season, and just made quick work of another GMC Blue Division opponent as they try to battle for the top of the board in the Blue Division.
They're looking better every game, I will say that. They definitely did not look good in the second and third quarter, but I liked how they played in the fourth quarter. They fought. Metuchen really looked good, and it was impressive, at least in the fourth and really the first quarter as well, but they kind of collapsed in the middle part of this game. As I mentioned earlier, looking ahead, on Wednesday they have Bard at home, and on Friday they have Spotswood at home, so they're getting Spotswood And they played Spotswood earlier on near week 1. They lost that 58-48 was the final score on the road. So that just about wraps it up. Metuchen Bulldogs and South Plainfield Tigers. The final score in this one, 69-53. South Plainfield gets the W. That's it. Ike Bush and Eddie Kalegi signing out.